Hi, this is Stacy with Lily Bean Crafts by Stacy. Welcome back, and if it's your first time, thanks for stopping by. I've been motivated to make a watermelon tumbler for a while now, and I just could not get the inspiration together until I finally got these brand new glitters that came in from Chase Ray Creations and their summer mystery box, and then everything just came together. So I'm starting with a 24-ounce plump from the Tipsy Magnolia that I have already cleaned, prepped, and I spray painted it with a peachy pinky color, a greenish color, and white. And I'm going to go ahead and use the epoxy method. I put about 2 ounces of epoxy onto this tumbler. And now I'm going in and doing the glitter method. I'm going to start off by sprinkling it really nicely. This is the first color that I used from the new Summer Mystery Box. It is called Double Dare. And now this really pretty corally color is called Stimpy, which is also from the summer box that we got in. All of the glitters are named after like Nickelodeon cartoons, and I am so here for it. I love it so much. The white that I'm using is the new Carnation, which is a chunky mix. And then when I go through a second time, I'm going to use Skin of a Killer to give it that opalescent white color that I love so much. So now I'm just going in with another coat. The first time that I went through, I went really light just to kind of get my placement. And now I'm going in heavier to make sure that I get full coverage on here. I'm also going to be taking care of sprinkling it on the bottom, so that when I do my glitter butt, the outer rim will already be taken care of for me. So I'm just going to take my time and make sure that I save all of my glitters and go through and just very carefully apply it, getting a nice ombre look to the swirl. Now, I personally don't think that I am the best at doing swirls. It's not one of my strong suits, but I totally was inspired by Kathy at the Rustic Pixie, and I just brought out my inner Kathy while I was working on this swirl tumbler. And because there's a little bit of a chunky mix that's on there with that carnation, once I have this completely covered, I am gonna take some of my parchment paper, roll it out, and make sure that I flatten it all down so that it becomes much easier when I go into my epoxy method. Then I'm going to go ahead and set this off to the side and let it dry for 4 hours. I'm going to go over it then with a coat of my glitter glue and just one of those cheap little brushes from the dollar store. Get this fully covered, let it sit for 4 hours, and then I'm going to go in with my first coat of epoxy. And I am going in with 20 mLs of my KS Resin Liquidy Split. Epoxy, I'm going to let that spin for about 2.5 hours, and then I'm going to go right in with another coat of 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy, let that dry for 4 hours, and then we're going to start working with these really cute element pieces that I got from Gracefully Created. To continue on with the swirl, I went ahead and mixed together 20 mLs of my fast set epoxy. I am going to go ahead and put some of it into some of these little containers that I'm going to put off to the side. I'm going to put about 10 mLs of the fast set epoxy on the tumbler. And then to get that swirl look, I'm going to go in with some mica powders. And I tried to find colors that match these glitters as close as possible. I did get an additional 2 micas with this summer mystery pack, and one of them was absolutely perfect with this new Stimpy coral color. It's called Ring Pop. So I'm going to put a little bit of that into one of the containers with the extra epoxy. I'm also going to go in with Radical Green, which is from the Radical neon mica pack that is at Chase Ray Creations. And then I'm going in with the white. I'm going in with an heirloom silver that I got from Simply Sarah's. She has some really great mica powders, so I'm just taking a couple minutes here to just mix all of those colors individually into these cups so that I can have it all ready. I am going to be doing this with a fast set epoxy, so I don't have a lot of time. I have maybe about 10 minutes to put this whole thing together. So I was just moving and shaking while I was doing this, and I'm going to get these all mixed up really good. I'm going to go in and heat the tumbler a little bit, make sure I have any bubbles popped, and then I'm going to take my stir stick and I'm just going to start applying very carefully each color. Now, this is where I really do not think that I am that great at it, but I just wanted to do the best job that I could. So I made this as simple as possible, my mixing or having all of the colors match the glitter. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put some of it on there of each of them. And then once I have a little bit at each of the spots, because you want to just do a little to start, because you can add more, but you cannot take away. So once I have that all on, I'm going to take my glove and I'm going to start just spreading it out carefully. And I'll just kind of let you watch the process here of how I spread all that out. And if you haven't done so yet, come check out my Lily Bean Crafters Community Facebook group. It's just a little place where we can chat about any new things that are going on in the industry, cool new techniques that are going on. I'm starting to go live so we can work on things together. And yeah, it's just a really fun place to hang out. So check it out. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch out and put new gloves on, and then I am going to add a little bit more. There was just a couple more spots where I wanted to get a little bit more of that extra dimension of the mica colors. So I just dipped my finger right into the epoxy mica mixtures and just kind of spread it on there at that point in time. And then I'm going to go ahead and heat it one more time and let this spin for 4 hours until it is completely dry. And then we'll start working with these elements that I got from Gracefully Created. And this is the little pack that I got. Since I did a swirl, I didn't want to use any of the stripes. I'll save those for another time. And I'm just going to go ahead and start cutting these out and just kind of placing them all over the place. No rhyme or reason. I just thought it would be really cute to just kind of have it spread all over here. Once I got them all on, I did decide to do an SVG, which was not in my plans, but it just felt like it needed a little bit more. So I did move them around a little bit off camera, but you get the idea of just kind of placing them. These are all removable, so they move really easily. I also trim them myself to have it so that there's not a lot of clear space for fingerprints and stuff like that to get onto. So once I get this all on, then I will show you the SVG that I found on Creative Fabrica. And I found this adorable little SVG on Creative Fabrica. I'll link it in the description. And I just thought it was really cute, and I just wanted to, since there was some black that was put in some of the elements, I just went with straight up black on the SVG, and it just seemed to add the right amount of something to it. And I like the fact that you can see the color from the swirl underneath it. And once I have everything applied on here, we're going to go ahead and get some epoxy on here and then start working on the glitter butt. So I'm going in with another 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy. I'm going to let this spin for 4 hours and then sand it down really good. And then I'm going to go in with another 10 mLs of my Flynn Sisters Artist Cure resin. Let that spin for 8 to 10 hours. Once it's completely dry, we're going to start working on that glitter butt. So with the butt of this tumbler, I decided that I just wanted to make it look like a traditional watermelon. So I decided to just do the Double Dare glitter in the green in with my UV resin around the outer rim. I'll put this all on, and then I'm going to put it under my heat lamp for a minute and let that dry. And at the same time that that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and start mixing the coral color that will be on the inside, and this like I said, the glitter name is Stimpy for that. So I'm doing the same thing. I didn't even take the time to like spray paint the bottom of this since it was going to be two completely different colors. I didn't want to do that to it. So I knew I was going to be putting 2 coats of this Stimpy on here. So I'm starting off by just going really shallow with it so that it dries really quickly. And then I did it for a minute, and here I am going in with another coat of that, and you can't even tell that it wasn't spray painted on the inside. I do take my little torch, pop any bubbles, and let that dry for about 2 or 3 minutes. And now I just went on to my Cricut and I found some little watermelon seed SVG, and I'm just going to go ahead and take a second and just kind of place this all over, no rhyme or reason, putting it all in the coral section so that it kind of looks like a watermelon. And then we'll start covering this all up with my UV resin until it is completely finished. As I am applying my UV resin, I usually do it in 3 coats. I like to do them a little bit thinner so that it doesn't take forever for it to dry. So I'll put a big dollop of it right in the center, and then I'll start to slowly move the tumbler around. Now, one tip that I can give you is do this in a room that's dark. I have my curtains closed because if you have UV lights coming in through your window, it's going to dry fast and it's going to leave it streaky. So I'm just going to do a coat, put it underneath there, do another coat, swirl it around, hit it with my torch, and then the last one, I'll make sure it's really clean around the edges so that it looks super nice and I don't have to do any extra work with it. And here is the final product. I am so glad that I held on to these elements because this glitter was just absolutely perfect. Everything went beautifully together. And if you like this tutorial, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see everybody again next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.